Now, the Mighty Mini started in 1996, and it's the second time it comes here to Brands this season. Now, it's one of the favourites, of course, at the Brands Hatch Festival, and it certainly produces some exciting racing.
Well, the Mighty Mini Championship can always be relied upon for great entertainment, and it's Simon Carter and Joshua Young who share the front row of the grid from Morgan Harris and Craig Pendlebury. Then it's Stuart Combs and Greg Jenkins, Sam Thompson, Mick Grover, Laura Harris and Kevin Strutt completing the top 10. Getting ready for the start of this 20-minute race in front of the crowd. The Mini Festival. It's a very good start from Morgan Harris from third as the leading duo got away pretty much as one. And Simon Carter and Joshua Young really fighting out in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Young trying to squeeze Carter. Carter having none of it, but Young might just be able to get his nose in front as they climb up Hailwood Hill towards Druids. And it is indeed Josh Young who gets the advantage. Simon Carter possibly at risk of being swamped by a couple behind as they head through Druids safely for the first time of asking. Greg Jenkins already up into second place, fighting for third as well is Craig Pendlebury into the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. And Jenkins, the car not dissimilar in livery to a late 80s Benetton, now challenges for the lead behind Josh Young as he sneaks to the inside at Surtees and takes the advantage. So Jenkins goes through, takes the lead. Young in second, Craig Pendlebury into third, and fourth for Simon Carter. So Carter not having the greatest of first laps from pole position. Well, the Mighty Mini Championship, of course, one of the very, very best value ways of getting involved in motorsport. The cars are available for very little money, and you don't need to do a lot at all to get them into race-ready condition. That's why it's a championship that continues to thrive year upon year, helped, of course, no end by the fact the racing is absolutely fantastic. As Greg Jenkins consults his mirrors, he sees the progress of Josh Young. It's behind, a bit bumping and boring, as Peter Vempley Burwood, I think, was just busy trying to see off the attention of Laura Harris. Stuart Coombs, car 10, in the mix as well, but this leading trio in the early stage is very, very close and keenly contested. As heading out of Clark Curve once more on to the Bradham Straight. Now this is the point where the leading trio will be able to take advantage of the slipstream effect. They're trying to break clear of Simon Carter in fourth place. He's got another train of cars behind him, but because these cars not the most aerodynamic and because they all run the course in skinny treaded tyres, slipstreaming is to the fore. So gaps can open and close in the blink of an eye, as you'll see as Craig Pendlebury looks to the inside of Josh Young, who in turn challenged Greg Jenkins, and Young could be the loser here as he moved across to defend. Craig Pendlebury was pretty much already there. Young, though, should be able to swing through the left-hander. Indeed he does. Just about holds on to that second place, but it gives Greg Jenkins the opportunity to, at least momentarily, build a little bit of a buffer at the front of the field as they head into Clark Curve again. Craig Pendlebury carries a lot of momentum onto the Bradham Straight, and that should be second place fairly easily, I'd suggest, for Craig Pendlebury. Josh Young, not an awful lot he could do. It's a gaggle of cars as well, looking to queue up behind, including the bright yellow car, Morgan Harris. It's four wide into Paddock Hill Bend. Who fancies this the most? The answer is Simon Carter, who swoops around the outside of all of them. Pendlebury goes back into third, which is pretty much where he started the lap, indeed started the move. Josh Young, possibly the big loser. Pendlebury, though, immediately snatches second from Carter up into Druids. And the risk, of course, with this level of dicing and this intensity is it might just give Greg Jenkins the chance to break away at the front of the field as Josh Young slithers into position ahead of Morgan Harris, and they've also got Stuart Coombs as well looking to join in the scrap. But still, the early stages of this race, they should, at an average time of about 65 seconds, be doing 19 laps or so over the course of the 20 minutes. They've got plenty of time to let events unfold, plenty of time to race a little bit more tactically, as Simon Tuckley comes under pressure from Laura Harris. Ready though, Greg Jenkins being closed back in by Craig Pendlebury. This is the slipstream effect. You need to be a couple of seconds clear of your rivals to be able to streak away as Josh Young, Stuart Coombs and Morgan Harris all squabble through the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. They then sprint along the Cooper Straight and into Clearways. Then the pace just picks up again out of Clearways through Clark Curve. The road just falls away. Then they pick up the throttle very nicely and along the Bradham Straight. Greg Jenkins consults his mirrors. He's got Craig Pendlebury just behind him. This is the fight for the lead of the race, and this very good scrap so far. They have got, and the pole sitter Simon Carter looking to try and come with them as well in third as they reach the bottom of Paddock Hill Bend and clamber uphill towards Druids. Jenkins again shuts the door ahead of Pendlebury and Simon Carter, with Josh Young in fourth. This has been a really good drive from Greg Jenkins because he's just soaking up all the pressure from around him, but Craig Pendlebury seems to have a very good car underneath him today as the rest of the field all scrap their way through. Simon Tuckley runs a little bit wide and he is going to lose out to Kevin Strutt towards the back of the field, the front of the field. This is mini racing at its very, very best. We've got this train of cars all running as one. The cars, to all intents and purposes, of course, identical, which really adds to the fun as they hammer along the Bradham Straight. Now they all start to look to pick their line into Paddock Hill Bend. To the outside we have got Pendlebury, to the inside it's Greg Jenkins, then we've got Simon Carter, the red machine, Josh Young and also Morgan Harris looking ever more ominous as Pendlebury pulls the pin, tries to look to the outside of Greg Jenkins. Jenkins shows just how wide a mini can be when you want it to. And so the green bonneted car navigates Graham Hill Bend in the lead of the race, sprints along the Cooper Straight. We've got really 5 cars all in the fight for the lead. 6 if you include the progress of Stuart Coombs as well, just behind, but Coombs hasn't yet really been able to move up through the train. He stays with them when they start fighting with each other, but as they just settle themselves down, he seems to get detached. Morgan Harris just has a check in his mirror, sees where Josh Young is. The answer is he's right alongside him. Now, how much does Harris fancy this on the brakes? They both brake desperately, desperately late, but Young a fraction of a second later than Harris, and so it means that Morgan Harris gets demoted. Craig Pendlebury looks to challenge Greg Jenkins as they head around Graham Hill Bend and then down toward, or rather Druids down towards the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. They are just starting to approach half race distance, and really the race has never settled down. They'll all be keeping their eye on the countdown clock. They'll be able to see on the gantry as they come past the end of each lap. They'll know, therefore, how many more laps they've got in the race, and they'll also know where the moves they make have to really be for keeps. Clearly, though, Greg Jenkins' preferred tactic is to take this one from the front of the field, and he's just leading the pack as now Morgan Harris starting to think about lining up a little bit of a move on Josh Young. Young, though, none of it for the moment, as Pendlebury's got a good overlap here on Greg Jenkins. This is the best opportunity that Pendlebury has had to challenge for the lead. Jenkins doesn't want to give it away, but he has no choice as Pendlebury sneaks through and takes his turn at the front of the field. There's the train all queuing up behind. We have still got Simon Carter in third, but Carter breaks deep, breaks late. That was partly to defend from Josh Young, and he almost ended up challenging Greg Jenkins. It's Young who's lost out though, as he finally looks like he's going to concede the position to Morgan Harris. Harris has got the inside line for Surtees. Young has got the outside track. Harris gives him racing room. I think Morgan Harris will be able to assert the right to the position as he comes out of Clearways, which he does now, onto the Bradham Straight. So all change over the course of this last lap. It's now also the turn of Stuart Coombs to start to put a little bit of pressure as well on to Josh Young. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Greg Jenkins has got back ahead of Craig Pendlebury, so that was a brief moment in the sun for Pendlebury, not having worked so hard for it for several laps. So he's got this lead, he can't hold it for very long. Coombs looks to the inside of Morgan Harris, gains the place on Josh Young as a result. And so Josh Young riffled down through the pack into 6th position. Stuart Coombs up to 5th, Morgan Harris is in 4th. Is running very wide out of Graham Hill Bend there. Josh Young will have to be careful not to do that again, otherwise he risks incurring a penalty. Through clearways, still Greg Jenkins leads the way from Craig Pendlebury. This has been the order for much of the race, not for want of trying on the part of Craig. Simon Carter in 3rd, he's got Morgan Harris weaving behind him. Harris contemplating a little bit of a look to the inside of Paddock Hill Bend. They all close up behind Greg Jenkins, who took the speed out of Craig Pendlebury's run through Paddock Hill Bend. It does mean it's bunched the rest of the field up behind. Gives the opportunity maybe to Morgan Harris, look to challenge the outside of Simon Carter through Druids. Nothing doing there as they then run as a train down into Graham Hill Bend once more. Then there's a little bit of a daylight now from 4th to 5th. From Morgan Harris back to Stuart Coombs. Meanwhile, Laura Harris making good progress in the slightly lower reaches at the top 10. She's got Peter Bentley Burwood just up the road ahead of her. But all eyes at Brands Hatch are on this leading quartet. The race still very, very far from decided. Craig Pendlebury has been asking all manner of questions of Greg Jenkins, and for the time being, Greg has got more than enough in the way of response. Now we're starting to ease towards the business end of the race. This is the point where Pendlebury is going to have to think about making some decisive moves. Great battling as well, a little bit further back. Oh, and all sideways and in trouble. That's Mick Grover, who was looking to the inside of Sam Tomlinson, and Grover is buried deep in the Paddock Hill Bend gravel trap. He's not going to be getting out of there. And unfortunately, what that also means is we're probably going to have a prolonged period of... Yeah, he's not happy with that either, is he? Delicate slamming of the door, though, as his position means we're likely to have waved yellow flags over at Paddock Hill Bend, probably for several laps, as the snatch vehicle recovers Mick Grover's car. Now that could put a different complexion on things, because it essentially makes life a little bit easier for Greg Jenkins, because he knows he doesn't have to defend through paddock. And so they all form an orderly train. There you see the snatch vehicle out to undertake the recovery. Meanwhile, Stuart Coombs and Josh Young busy doing battle for 5th and 6th, and Stuart Coombs has been able to close right up now onto the tail of Simon Carter, and Coombs looking to steadily pick his way through the field if he can, as the red number 10 car accelerates along the Cooper Straight. There is the recovery ongoing for Mick Grover. Craig Pendlebury, therefore, although he can get the benefit of the tow behind Greg Jenkins, he won't be able to find a way past. It gives Jenkins some momentary respite, and the timing of the instant, really, for Grover, almost ideal, one might suggest, for Greg Jenkins. Now, where is Stuart Coombs? Coombs has gone missing, and it's suddenly now Sam Tomlinson who's joining in the mix as well, who moves ahead of Josh Young. So just as Stuart Coombs was going very well, something has clearly befallen him, and he has been forced into retirement as Mick Grover's car is pulled clear. Greg Jenkins has got another lap of respite through Paddock Hill Bend, and for Craig Pendlebury this is very frustrating, because it also means obviously the wave yellow flags, not only can you not overtake, but you can't really race your rival, and therefore Pendlebury can't start to line up the challenge on Greg Jenkins towards Druids until they go past the green flag on the way up Halewood Hill. Up into 3rd place, has come Morgan Harris, and up to 4th now comes Sam Tomlinson, who's putting together a pretty good late race spurt. He moves to the inside of Simon Carter. Carter looks to challenge Tomlinson. Back again into Graham Hill-Penn. That was never going to happen, was it, for Simon Carter? Far too acute an angle. And it does now give Josh Young the chance to rejoin the battle. So still we've got 6 cars fighting for the front of the field. Now that is the destiny of Stuart Coombs. You can see over at Clearways, he just set his personal best lap of the race and has then unfortunately put it into the gravel trap. So Greg Jenkins leads over the line. Again, we are getting towards the latter stages of the race here. They're probably only going to have time for 4 or 5 more laps by reckoning. Even that could be a little bit generous, as now to the inside, Sam Tomlinson coming on very good late on, as we've got the green flag conditions once more at Paddock Hill Bend. Well, Greg Jenkins still leads the way. Morgan Harris in 4th. He's pressurising Tomlinson. Josh Young coming into the mix, and the driver who's just slipping back now is Simon Carter, who may have got through the best of his tyres in the opening exchanges. You can see that he is now just slipping adrift of the leading quintet. Well, Craig Pendlebury could probably sketch blindfolded the tail of Greg Jenkins' car, as Peter Bentley-Burwood and Laura Harris continue to squabble over 7th and 8th place, because Pendlebury has spent all race tucked up behind Greg Jenkins. He's only briefly had the lead for about half a lap or so. And Jenkins heads through, reels off another tour of the circuit. The wild card here, of course, is Sam Tomlinson. And Tomlinson looks to challenge the inside of Craig Pendlebury, and Sam Tomlinson could have pulled off a tactical masterstroke here. He's absolutely flying in the latter stage of the race. Pendlebury having none of it. Tomlinson a little bit squeezed quite tightly there as they come down out of Druid. He pushes Pendlebury out onto the grass. Craig Pendlebury, I'm pretty sure, get his elbows out on the way back. Indeed he does. But you can see one of the beauties of this championship is, although the racing is very close, it has been very clean as well. No contact amongst this front-running group of cars. So Tomlinson in 3rd. Morgan Harris now looking to snap at his heels as they head out of Clark Curve again onto the Bradham Straight. Pendlebury will try and use the slipstream to come back at Greg Jenkins. That's what he's going to be looking to do. As now for Pendlebury, he knows that time is of the essence, and he goes for a brave move to the outside of Greg Jenkins at Paddock Hill Bend, and he may pull this off here, Pendlebury, as both of them on the limits of adhesion as they climb up Halewood Hill towards Druids. Jenkins has got the track position though. Tomlinson tries to invite himself to the party as well, and Craig Pendlebury realised that he was running out of time. He had to make the move, as Tomlinson and Pendlebury get very close for comfort. The order stays exactly as it was, as Tomlinson again looks to the inside of Craig Pendlebury as they turn into Surtees. Tomlinson just edged out a little bit, opens the door to Morgan Harris. Harris tries to challenge. Tomlinson shuts the door. It's all getting very frantic now as Greg Jenkins heads onwards. This has been an absolutely fantastic race, but who is going to claim the honours? Who's going to complete the podium? We still don't know, as they head into another lap. Very, very deep in the race. Again, Pendlebury senses his chances are best through Paddock Hill Bend, but he doesn't carry enough momentum on the exit to be able to draw alongside Jenkins before Jenkins can shut the door. Tomlinson looks to the outside. Sam Tomlinson really asking everything of his car, on the cusp of breaking traction pretty much all the time as they head out of Graham Hill Bend down the Cooper Straight. Harris looks to challenge Tomlinson. Tomlinson looks to challenge Pendlebury. Pendlebury looks to challenge Jenkins. Josh Young and Simon Carter in 5th and 6th, just watching and waiting to see how this is going to unfold as Jenkins accelerates through. He's got Pendlebury just behind him. This is going to be quite the run as they head on their way. And Jenkins, you can see him in the car, he's willing the car on, bouncing, and he knows why, with very good effect, because he takes the win just from Pendlebury. And there's been a sort out late on because Sam Tomlinson has been shuffled down the order. So 3rd goes to Morgan Harris and 4th to Josh Young. with Peter Vempley-Burwood holding off Laura Harris, and Simon Tuckley looking to achieve exactly the same on Robert Threlfall, which he manages to do. Great race from the Mighty Minis. Greg Jenkins taking the win from Craig Pendlebury and Morgan Harris. Not surprisingly, all smiles on the Brands Hatch rostrum. Fantastic dicing for 20 minutes, and a richly deserving winner in the form of Greg Jenkins.
Well, Greg, congratulations. You fought your way right to the top spot and then managed to hold on all the way through.
Yeah, that was a really tough race. 20 minutes with these guys behind me. It was tiring, very tiring.
Well, you worked hard to get to that top spot. I think it took you 9 laps, but you weren't going to let it up.
No, Craig got past me and I thought, I'm not having this. I'm going to have it back. So, yeah, I gave it him back and, yeah, got the first. It was good.
Fantastic. Well, it's a great race series, isn't it? Watching it, there's battles all the way through.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, last year there was a couple of cars that were miles ahead of everyone, but now they've gone and it's good, clean racing. It's close and it's very enjoyable.
Well, Craig, congratulations. Second spot, and you certainly worked all the way for that.
Yeah, like I was saying, I couldn't have worked any harder. I gave it everything I got. He's a tough cookie, is Greg. Very difficult to get past. But I'm just glad I held on to second. It was a really, really tough race.
It was a tough battle either side of you. You were squidged in between some serious racing there.
Yeah, I'm absolutely shattered. 5.5 hour drive to go, which is not great up the M1, but yeah, I'm really pleased, really pleased.
Well worth it for that second place.
Thank you.
Well, Morgan, with a little bit of luck and some massive determination, you took that on the last corner.
Yeah, it was a tough race as always, and Sam was flying, and lucky for me he made a slight error and I just stuck the car in the gap and he couldn't keep it, so just squeezed the third, started in third and got the third in the end, so that was a great race, best race all year.
Certainly was a great race. Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much indeed, thank you.